السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم طلبة وطالبات الصف الثالث الإعدادي، وهنكمل النهاردة مع بعض unit number 17 lesson number 4 3 and 4. We will study the unit from our student book. عندي lesson number 3 question number 1 or exercise number 1 really ask and answer. Where do you think this picture was found? In a cave or in a river? يعني بيقول لك هل الصورة دي اتوجدت فين؟ in a cave or a river. طبعا الكيف اللي هو الكهف والريفر اللي هو النهر، وطبعا the answer is in a cave. Number 2, how old do you think it is? How old do you think it is? 80 or 8,000 years old? طبعا I think it's 8,000 years old. Now listen to a museum guide talking to some students. Check your answers to exercise number 1. Now we are going to listen to the talk and هنسمع حديث الميوزيوم جايد بيتكلم مع بعض students. Good. Now many people ask me، يعني دلوقتي في ناس كتير بتسألني، did dinosaurs live at the same time as people? Did dinosaurs live at the same time as people? The answer is no. يبقى هو بيسألوه هل الإنسان أو الديناصورات عاشت في نفس الوقت مع الإنسان؟ طبعا the answer is no، يعني الكلام ده خطأ. Dinosaurs lived approximately بمعنى تقريبا. كلمة approximately بمعنى تقريبا 65 million years ago. The dinosaurs lived approximately 65 million years ago. Scientists are not sure exactly. كلمة exactly يعني بالضبط. Sure exactly يعني مش متأكدين بالضبط. When people started living on Earth, we think that people start living maybe 250,000. طبعا maybe بمعنى ربما، وطبعا كل ده لأن الأرقام دي كلها هي أرقام تقريبية. 250,000 years ago. Today I'm going to talk to you about some people who lived about يعني عاشوا حوالي، يبقى who lived about يعني عاشوا حوالي 8,000 years ago. One of the most important times in history was when people learned to make things with stone. يبقى من أهم العصور في التاريخ لما بدأ الإنسان يتعلم يعمل أشياء من الستون. Then they were better at catching animals and could build better homes. This was called Stone Age. العصر ده سموه Stone Age. Stone Age اللي هو العصر الثالث. At the beginning of the Stone Age, people moved from place to place. They did this because they needed to look for food. يبقى قبل في بداية العصر الحجري كانت الناس بتنتقل من مكان لمكان لبحثا عن الطعام. Girl 1, where did they live? That's a good question. There weren't any houses then. They lived in caves. طبعا الكيفز اللي هي الكهوف. Archaeologists have found cave art. الكيف art بقى اللي هي فنون في الكهف أو رسومات في الكهف in different places around the world. What did they eat? They ate plants and also meat from the animals they caught. How did they keep warm? They learned to make fire. Then in around يعني في حوالي in around 8,000 BCE، وطبعا BCE اللي هي before Christ era before Christ era اللي هي قبل عصر المسيح. People began farming in North Africa. They planted wheat and they kept sheep. يبقى كانوا بيزرعوا القمح ويربوا الغنم. They began to build huts to live in. طبعا الhuts اللي هي الأكواخ. To live in. So they wouldn't have to move. يبقى ما كانوش مضطرين يتحركوا to move around. ابتدى يحصل الاستقرار. What else do we know about this time? إيه تاني نعرفه عن هذا العصر? Well, archaeologists have found animal bones which people used to sew clothes. يبقى نوت بعد الاركيولوجيستس وجدوا animal bones which people used to sew clothes. كانوا بيستخدموها عشان يخيطوا بيها الملابس. We know that people used animal skins to make their clothes. يبقى كانوا بيلبسوا الانيمال skins اللي هي جلود الحيوانات. This kept them warm. It was perhaps بمعنى ربما 4000 BCE when people started making pots and pans out of clay. طبعا out of clay يعني من الطن. This meant they could eat different food like soup. Did they have cans of soup? طبعا cans of soup يعني معلبات من الشرب. No, people couldn't eat soup in cans until sometime in the 19th century. يعني بدأوا بس يعملوا الكانز في وقت في القرن ال19. You can see that life was very different from today. يعني زي ما احنا شايفين ان الحياة دي كانت مختلفة تماما عن ما هي عليه اليوم. Now let's look at exercise number 3. Listen again and complete the sentences. Dinosaurs did not live at the same time as people. Scientists are not sure exactly. يبقى when people started طبعا started living on Earth. One of the most important times in history was when people learned to make things with clay, with the stone. لما بدأوا يعملوا أشياء من الستون. At the beginning of the Stone Age, people lived in طبعا caves. Farming began in North Africa. People began to build huts لكي طبعا to live in. So that they wouldn't have to move around. طبعا خلينا نتنقل للفانكشن بوكس. والفانكشن بوكس ان هو بيتكلم عن giving dates you are not sure about او you are not sure of. لما تكون التواريخ انت مش متاكد منها اذا كانت هي الاكزاكت ديتس او التاريخ الصح، فانا بستخدم بعض العبارات زي كلمه about، زي كلمه maybe، sorry. زي كلمة almost، زي in around، في حوالي سنة كذا، لما أكون عايزة أدي سنة وأنا مش متأكدة، ممكن زي ما كمان شفنا في الليسننج بستخدم كلمة approximately، حوالي. فدايما بنشوف الإكزامبل بيقول لي dinosaurs lived about 65 million years ago. We think that people first lived maybe 250,000 years ago. Some people who lived almost 8,000 years ago. So I'm going to talk to you about some people who lived almost 8,000 years ago. In around 8,000 BCE, people began farming in North Africa. Now we will move to lesson number 4. And question number 1, our first exercise, what do you know about these animals? Work in pairs and do the quiz. طبعا بيقول which of the following can't hippos do? hippos اللي هو الوحيد القرن أو السيد اللي هو سيد قشطة. Swim, walk or run. You can choose your answer. How many hours a day do some lions sleep for? How long does a baby giraffe have to wait before it can run? How fast can a zebra run? When do crocodiles wade by river with their mouths open? Okay, but now we are going to read the listening part and continue to answer the question. Number 1, hippos can walk and run very fast, but they can't swim. When they move quickly through water, they are walking or pushing themselves off other objects. So the answer is A. Number 2, boy lions sleep for longer than girl lions. The girls have to catch the animals to eat, but many boy lions sleep for 20 hours a day. So the answer is C. Number 3, after it is born, a baby giraffe can stand up after about 30 minutes and can usually run after 10 hours. So the answer is B. Zebra can run up to 65 kilometers an hour, so it is very difficult for other animals to catch them. So the answer is C. Crocodiles often wade by rivers with their mouths open when they are hot. It helps them to be cooler, so the answer is A. يبقى تاني كده، يبقى هنا يبقى which of these can't hippo do? يبقى they can't swim. How many hours do some lions sleep for? طبعا قلنا 20. How long does a baby giraffe have to wait before it can run? After 10 hours. How fast can a zebra run? نرجع كده قلنا how fast can a zebra run? يبقى is a C, 65 kilometers. When do crocodiles wade by rivers with their mouths open? يبقى when they are hot. Now, let's look at the project. We'll scan this code to find out more about one of the following. يعني أعمل scan للكود دوت وهنشوف نطلع بعض المعلومات about lions, giraffes, zebras, and crocodiles. Find out دي المعلومات اللي احنا عايزينها. Where they live, what they look like, what do they eat. and any other interesting information. بعد كده المفروض ان انا بعمل poster or a PowerPoint presentation or a magazine article about them, and they are giving us an example about hippos. Hippos live in Africa. They like water and spend about 16 hours a day in rivers or lakes. They live in a big groups of 30 or more. They are very large animals with big heads and small ears. They can weigh more than 4,000 kilos and are usually about 1.6 meters tall. Hippos eat about 35 kilos of grass a day, and they also eat fruit. They walk for up to 10 kilometers every night, which is when they took for things to eat. Which is when they look for things to eat. يعني ده الوقت اللي هم بيدوروا فيه على حاجة ياكلوها. Now let's move to lesson number 5, and this is the revision lesson. Talk about animals from the past. Complete the text. Die out احنا قلنا بمعنى تنقرض. Erupted بمعنى يثور. Meteorite اللي هو النيزك. Theories نظريات. Volcanoes اللي هي البراكين. Why did dinosaurs die out? There are different theories. Some scientists think that A hit the earth. طبعا a meteorite hit the earth, or that there were many volcanoes which طبعا erupted. So there was no sunlight. Exercise number 2, use the third conditional. Match to make third conditional sentences. Number 1, if I hadn't gone to the village on holiday, I wouldn't have seen many beautiful birds. Number 2, if I had lived thousands of years ago, what would happen? You know what? I would have seen zebras and giraffes in Egypt. Well, I would have seen the drawings on the walls. I wouldn't have learned all about dinosaurs. Okay, يبقى طبعا مع number A يبقى if I had lived 1,000 years ago, I would have seen zebras and giraffes in Egypt. If I hadn't seen the documentary, لو أنا ما شفتش الدوكيومنتري يبقى I wouldn't have learned all about dinosaurs. يبقى this is number D. If I had followed you into the cave, يبقى طبعا I would have seen the drawing on the wall with number B. Exercise number 3, answer the questions using the words in brackets. How many hours a day do hippos spend in rivers? How many hours a day do hippos spend in rivers? وعايزين نستخدم كلمة almost. يبقى كده يبقى هنستخدم في الإجابة كلمة إيه؟ almost. يبقى بقول لي هنا how many hours a day do hippos spend in rivers? يبقى they spend almost 16 hours in rivers. Number 2, how heavy are heaps? How heavy are heaps? يبقى they are أو they weigh about. عايز استخدم طبعا كلمة about، يبقى هحط قبل الرقم about، يبقى they weigh about 4,000 kilos. How much grass do heaps eat? ياكلوا قد ايه؟ يبقى they eat around 35 kilos of grass a day. Question number 4, how many kilometers do heaps walk every night? عايز استخدم I think و maybe، يبقى I think they أو heaps walk maybe 10 kilometers every night أو a night. وبكده نكون وصلنا لنهاية درسنا النهارده. أتمنى إنكم تكونوا استفدتم. Until we meet again, goodbye and good luck.